Back to the daily grind, and shout out to the full-time patrons. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Cris Cyborg, the UFC's female featherweight champion, thinks that her champion vs. champion super fight with Amanda Nunes will be her last fight in the UFC. And it's because her contract's coming to an end, and the way the UFC is going right now, it doesn't look like they're really committing to the featherweight division. I mean, we've been wanting to see Cris Cyborg versus a legitimate featherweight for a while now, and when Megan Anderson was signed to the UFC, a girl that we thought could potentially be that title challenger, the UFC put her against Holly Holm. Holly Holm out-wrestled her, and now Cris Cyborg still doesn't have a legitimate featherweight to fight, unless you bring in somebody else outside the UFC. But then you got the Ultimate Fighter Season 27 coming up, or Season 28, whatever season it is. I believe it's the final season, actually, of the show. And half of the show is heavyweights, half of the show is female featherweights. But the female featherweights that got signed on the show, I believe half of them are actually fucking girls that can make bantamweight. That's actually not what we're looking for when we're looking for a featherweight division. We're looking for girls that are legit featherweights, not girls that are fighting at 135, but they're like, hey, I'll go up to 145 just because, you know what I'm saying? That's where the opportunity is, but then I'm going right back down. We actually want to see Cris Cyborg get a legitimate division that she can run through, because that's probably what she would do. But as of right now, she's having to run through these bantamweights and girls that are not on her level. And Holly Holm is a girl you might be able to say is on her level, but probably not on her level. And she's also a bantamweight. Now, Amanda Nunes is the best bantamweight in the world, and that is a fight a lot of us want to see. It's been on the table. Amanda Nunes is it seems like maybe ducking her taco just a little bit in this situation because she called for the fight. Cris Cyborg has said, even reluctantly, that she's willing to fight her. At first, Cris Cyborg didn't want the fight. Then Amanda Nunes, gave her 10 excuses. No, it's not about Brazil. Like, don't worry about Brazil. I don't want to. It's got nothing personal. It's a huge opportunity. It's the perfect time. And Cris Cyborg eventually was like, all right, okay, nothing to do with Brazil. Sorry, Brazil. I don't want to make Brazil cry. But she asked for it. Be careful what you ask for. Let's fucking do it, Amanda Nunes. It's like she called Amanda Nunes' bluff. And now Amanda Nunes is like, Caitlin Vieira. Oh, actually, now Holly Holm got a W. How about Holly Holm? And Cyborg's like, yo, look, I just signed the contract for UFC 228. She's like, yeah, but I signed it for UFC 232. It's like, yeah, why? Well, no, take the fight. Like, so Amanda Nunes really is seeming like one of many girls who called out Cris Cyborg, and as soon as Cris Cyborg called their bluff, that poker face went away pretty quick. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, I do think this is a fight that will happen sometime. When, we don't know. Maybe at the end of the year, because that's when we know Amanda Nunes agreed for the fight. But in the meantime, in between time, Cris Cyborg said she's ready to fight. Her contract expires, I believe, she says, in March. And I don't know if she's got a certain amount of, doesn't sound like she's got a certain amount of fights, like 2 fights left, 1 fight left. It's a date. And so she said, I'm ready to fight now. Cris Cyborg's ready to fight at UFC 228. If Cris Cyborg got put on that card, especially coming off the news that Valentina Shevchenko and Nico Montano is very likely going to be on that card, that would be the biggest WMMA night in women's history, in women's MMA history. You would have the 2 female GOATs on the same card, pound for pound greatest fighters. Now, Amanda Nunes would be missing, but pound for pound, I give that to Valentina Shevchenko. She was one of the best at 135 and likely is the best at 125. Cris Cyborg's got the best skills we've ever seen in MMA today. If she fought any fighter on the planet that's a woman that you would pick Cris Cyborg to win that fight. Unless you're talking about Kayla Harrison in about 3 years. But either way, you get the point. Today, right now, Cris Cyborg is the baddest woman on the planet. She's like the heavyweight champion for men. You know what I'm saying? The heavyweight is the baddest man on the planet. Well, there's no division bigger than Cyborg's right now. Unless you're talking about the PFL. Kayla Harrison did fight at lightweight. Let's fucking go. But either way, Cris Cyborg is the baddest woman on the planet as far as mixed martial arts is concerned. So if you had Cyborg and Valentina at UFC 228, holy smokes, what a night for WMMA. But it looks like Amanda Nunes, oh my God, and it would be Nunes, she would be on the card. And real quick, full-time family, before you forget, make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying this video, and also if you're new, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it so you're notified every time I upload a video. And if you want to see more videos like this, just check out the video description, the Full-Time MMA Dojo over here at patreon.com/fulltimemma, and you can see a lot of other cool things, including the goals of this channel, which is something new, so make sure you go check that out. And with that being said, enjoy the rest of the video. It would be Nunes versus Cyborg and Shevchenko on the same fucking card. Amanda Nunes is literally taking this night away from WMMA. You know what I'm saying? Like, you would have the 3 women's GOATs on the same card. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and Amanda Nunes is like, yeah, how about UFC 232 end of the year? What? Why? Are you injured? You should have said that. Hey, I'm injured. I can't make 228. Don't just give me a, yeah, I'd rather fight 4 UFCs later. What the fuck, man? I'm a fan of Amanda Nunes. I'm one of the people that defended her in her whole sinusitis situation. I believe she had sinuses. I don't think she was scared of Valentina Shevchenko. But I don't know if I believe the same about Cris Cyborg, because she's kind of changing my mind. Amanda Nunes is, you know, with these different dates and these different opponent ideas. It's like, come on, dog. And now we got Cris Cyborg. She's talking about her fight with Amanda Nunes could potentially be her last fight in the UFC. She says, I think this will be my last fight in the UFC because my contract expires in March. And doing this fight in December, I think will be the last that people will see me fight. Now, that could just be in the UFC. Cris Cyborg's talked about going to boxing, maybe boxing professionally. She's could also go to somewhere like fucking Bellator, where they got Julia Budd in that legit women's featherweight division. Bellator could sign some of these girls that are featherweights, that you know, because if the UFC doesn't commit to this featherweight division, I'm sure Megan Anderson's not going to stick around. What's she going to do? Unless she's cutting to fucking bantamweight. She, you know what? Go back to Invicta. Shoot, if I'm Bellator, all right, I'll take Cyborg. We got Julia Budd over here. We'll make it work. UFC, if y'all ain't into the whole Cyborg deal or whatever y'all are doing, if y'all ain't trying to make a legit featherweight division for whatever the fuck reason, if I'm Bellator, I would snatch Cyborg up in a heartbeat. But with that being said, I really want to believe the UFC is going to sign some of these featherweights that they didn't pick for the Ultimate Fighter show, because that's really the only way for me to believe they're committing to this division. You can't just sign a bunch of bantamweights to the Ultimate Fighter, not sign some of the veteran featherweights, put Megan Anderson against Holly Holm, which takes away from Cyborg's legit featherweight fight we wanted to see. I mean, the UFC is just not doing a lot of things right now to make us believe as fans that they're committing to this division. So I'm sure Cyborg, she doesn't believe it either. And she sees what the UFC's doing. Oh, you guys got a bunch of more bantamweights? You guys still ain't got rankings for my division? What's going on, man? My contract's coming up. She's looking at her watch. Yeah, what's going on, Oscar De La Hoya? I believe Cyborg's talked about, and I don't know if she's going to promote with Oscar De La Hoya, how that's going to work, if she's going to box under Oscar De La Hoya, but I don't know if she's got some connections with Golden Boy Promotions. Oscar De La Hoya has talked about going into MMA. She couldn't even do MMA. Come on, I'm not going to go that crazy. Oscar De La Hoya, I don't see his MMA organization, getting to sign the best female featherweight in the world. I mean, it's a possibility, but they're working with guys like Chuck and Tito right now. You know what I'm saying? They might be in their early 50s, late 40s. I don't think they're going to get Cyborg, but either way, I wouldn't mind seeing Cyborg and Bellator. Bellator's been doing their thing this whole year. They've got great fighters, men's and women's. Cyborg versus Julia Budd is a legit female featherweight fight that I'm sure the fans would love to see. And even if it's outside the UFC, I think the fans would kind of know what time it is if Cyborg left the UFC. Like, hey, they didn't commit to the division. And I believe the UFC even made those promises to Cyborg before she came. I heard Dana White say that himself. Like, yeah, we made some promises to her. You know, we haven't been able to make good on those promises yet, but we're going to. And we're seeing something. We're seeing inklings. We've seen them sign Megan Anderson. We're seeing this Ultimate Fighter Season 28, I believe, with some female featherweights, like a few. So we'll see what happens, man. I'll keep you guys updated. But as far as Amanda Nunes versus Cris Cyborg is concerned, it might be Cris Cyborg's last fight, and I believe it would only be with the UFC. Even if she stops fighting in the UFC, we'll probably see Cyborg in boxing. And if not boxing, Bellator. Either way, Cyborg, she's got a fan base. She's a bigger draw than a lot of the other WMMA fighters. Now, she's not a crazy draw, Cris Cyborg. You know what I'm saying? She's not a Ronda Rousey. I don't even know if she might be up there with Holly Holm. Yeah, maybe she is up there with Holly Holm. But I also know, like, and this is just my personal experience, like, whenever I tell people Cyborg's fighting, whether it be my brother, my girl, anybody I know that's somewhat the super casual fans, they don't keep up with it like me, but they watch big fights, they're not super interested to see Cyborg fight, but they do know the name. But they're not like, oh, I gotta watch this fight. You know what I'm saying? And also, Cyborg's pay-per-view numbers, they tell a story as well. You know what I'm saying? She fought Holly Holm at UFC 219, end of the year. We're not going to get into that. That's another topic for another day. We could have that debate. But with that being said, man, it is what it is. Thank y'all for checking out this video. Let the full-time family know what you think in the comments. And before we go, shout out to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit the bell right next to it so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And this is the hardest working MMA channel on YouTube. We provide daily updates, predictions, betting advice, we do songs, we do fantasy fights, we've interviewed Aljamain Sterling, Sean O'Malley, Bruce Lachmedio, and Felony Charles Bennett, all in just 1 year as an MMA channel. We're one of the fastest growing MMA channels on the net, but we're still small, so make sure you guys go check out the Full-Time MMA Dojo if you want to learn how you can become a full-time MMA black belt. And while you're there, you can see where this MMA channel started from, some of the goals we have for the channel, and even more cool videos just like this one if you enjoyed it. So thanks again to all the full-time MMA white belts that have hit the subscribe button, and also if you're just lurking and this is your first time seeing a video, appreciate that as well. I'm out.
Da 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 da! It's the motherfucking DOG.